Item 9.3, which is a record setting in my time around the council table, 7 only resolutions to talk about for our spring convention. And we all sort of listen when we're there, but we usually take a quick look through them, and it will be quick today because there's not many. So, Alberta Wetland Mitigation Directive, Saddle Hills, and this was basically about minimizing administration and assessment procedures, and they gave an example of what it had cost them, which I thought that was a pretty cheap compared to some of the things that are costs. But whatever the case, in my mind, it's always good to remind the government what all these things do cost us, I think. Comments on that one? So we'll go on to number 2. And this is a money one also, of course. Kevin, do you have any comments on this one? I mean, they're asking that...
They just want it communicated, right?
Is that all it's about?
Well, you're talking about machinery and equipment. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's a few things, but the one that I think is most important is the second part of it. That RMA advocate for the government of Alberta to not consider any changes to the Alberta machinery and equipment assessment minister guidelines without full consultation and consideration of the impacts of changes.
Yeah. Consultation seems to be a bit of a problem these days, so. And they have a list of the many municipalities that are affected by oil and gas and machinery and equipment and taxes. And then Sturgeon County has the implementing Western Rural Municipal Representation on FCM West. And this is rather interesting because the people, I mean, we do have, well, Al Kamir, I think, is the deputy chair of this. Is he the deputy chair? Co-chair? Barry is. So, you know, from our perspective, we have decent representation, but then if you look at the rest of them, it is all, I mean, there's all these different mayors. But it wasn't just about rural, it was about the West in general. So to say 2 out of 17 members on West are rural focused, I guess could be true. I think this will be an interesting discussion. And as I said, Al will have a perspective on it, I'm certain. And this committee is already meeting. I'm not quite sure how you tear apart a committee that's already had some meetings. Water and wastewater. I read this as to trying to keep costs down, but also maybe to quit changing regulations so much. I don't know. Like, this is about water. And I guess wastewater too, but. And I've sort of become disinterested in what's gone on, because at one time when I was first on council, any changes in the water rules and regulations directly came to council because of our involvement with the hamlets. But now with the NRSC, and maybe Clarence or Brian, I mean, is it an ongoing thing where the standards for water continue to cause problems?
Well, we don't deal with them. I mean, we're made aware of them if there's changes, but
Yeah.
I can't think of any in my times on NRSC. I mean, basically between your operations manager and your manager, they take care of it, and they have to provide the water quality that Alberta environment defines, and they do that, and they do it easily. Like, they have no trouble meeting that. Was it the last time 96 percentile of what's required? So it's pretty good.
Plus, that's one of the reasons NRSC was formed, because all the local plants couldn't keep up to the regulations and the quality and the dollars that were involved with it. So, no, our staff has never made it, as far as I can remember, made an issue of any of the regulations that have come down that we couldn't meet them or that they were not right. And definitely since the deaths in Ontario because of inadequate treatment, this has been an ongoing thing. And I think mostly it's for our own safety. I don't think, I haven't heard that there's anything that's been out there that's unreasonable.
So I think this is probably the ongoing issue of money, of course, and for the municipalities perhaps that don't have a good water delivery model in place, and shortage of money as always. Because there's only so much you can do to water to make it. You can't, if it's bad today, you fix it, but it should be good forever then if you make it to a certain standard. So, as we've said for many years, most of these are about money.
Polly, through the chair,
Yes.
Kevin, do you see this as something that will be very financially cumbersome for a lot of municipalities? And you got to realize that the reason I say that is because, I mean, it's easy for me to say, yeah, everybody should have done what we did. But this is Northern Alberta. Some of the practicalities of having a regional system aren't really there. So do you think that this is, if you can't make water to the standards that are necessary, do you see this as being something that's going to put some communities at financial risk?
Well, I think a lot, and part of the reason we were, brought up was because of the shape of everything and the cost of the system. We would have had a real hard time building that on our own without the funding. So I think the resolution here, asks that if they are making changes to regulations, that they fully understand and of the financial impacts of those to the communities, as well as if there is a financial impact, they're asking for there be adequate funding. So, I think as long as they cover that off within the resolution, then communities that do have to upgrade and they get adequate funding, whatever that might be, their chance of being able to do that is pretty good. If they're left on their own, I don't think there's hardly any communities, small ones anyway, that could do it because their plants are so expensive.
But ultimately, I guess, within the Municipal Government Act, what is the responsibility when it comes to providing safe drinking water for a community? Does it fall within those communities, or is the province responsible for some of those costs?
Well, everybody has to have a license through Alberta Environment, And so if you don't have a license, you can't pump water or handle your sewage. So unless you're prepared to break that and take the chances of not being held accountable. But so yeah, Alberta Environment enforces it, licenses everything, inspects everybody's facilities, so they control it.
Okay, on to the Resolution 5 is about the RETAs, and I tried to take a look in the budget to see, actually I think last Friday when we did that conference call, Lane, did somebody ask about RETAs? And the answer was, yeah, I don't think there was anything in the budget, or there wasn't a good answer. So, I mean, this wants the RMA to advocate that we get a 5-year contract. That's for the PEPs of the province, basically. And I don't understand what was in the budget and if there was anything, so we can listen and see what happens. Item 6 is the economic state of crisis. And they want to advocate that Alberta and Canada should declare an economic state of crisis and work with all levels of government to fix everything that's wrong in the energy sector. So that'll be interesting discussion too, because as we know it would appear that the only sector having any problems, and I said this for a while in Alberta, perhaps is just not energy, but that is the focus. And I heard somebody say that on TV the other day, like, if it's not energy, it seems like the government isn't paying attention. So I'm sure this would have happened already if it was a good thing to do. Okay, health care co-ops from the County of Warner, and as Brian questioned, and I had to go back and look myself, I just noticed where it says individual resolution, because this wasn't at Foothill's Little Bowl. And, and this is about asking the government to adopt a strategy to support the establishment of healthcare co-ops to better serve rural residents. And I really don't quite understand exactly what that means. And there was an attachment that had been put out by Alberta Community and Cooperative Association, which is not an organization I'm familiar with. I don't know if it's different from other co-ops that exist. So it's co-ops and credit unions, and Kelly.
It smacks of privatization to me, the whole concept.
In a different way, because it's member driven. So I'm hoping to learn what this would be all about. Filling the gaps in the public health system? Well, yeah, okay. Sounds good to me, but I don't understand what it. Does anybody else have an understanding of what this might be? And they have a stat on one of the pages that in Quebec, healthcare cooperatives provide 2.6 million hours of home care and primary medical care to 178,000 people in the province. So non-profits, yeah, I'm looking forward to learning more, understanding it better. I can't picture it in my mind. Anybody else got a better grip on it? All right, well, those are the 7, I think. And like I said, this is a record. It's amazing. we've been saying for some time that perhaps the spring convention might not be necessary.
Madam Reeve, there'll probably be 10 emergent resolutions just because we got 7.
And the emergency will be that we only had 7. So this has got to be an emergent resolution. Good point. Okay, item 9.6, request for functions of council. Any of those today? Okay, move on to Sturgeon County's FCM reception invitation. And Kevin, did you hear back from Gerald at all?
Yeah, so Gerald responded and said that they have been in contact with Sturgeon County, and they've been aware of it, but they're going to stay out of it from their perspective. So he indicated that there may be an overlap with already a presentation in a group that's looking at a oil and gas focus. So he encouraged the group to make sure that they communicated with each other. But I don't know what the budget is for this. You know, they're asking for some donations, and I see a dollar value in there, but I don't know what the cost, what they're looking at. It looks like the big players up north are in it so far, so.
So basically it's a time set aside on June 6th for educational presentations, maybe a keynote speaker for people to attend, sponsored by a number of municipalities from Alberta.
Maybe they could get Michelle Rempel.
Yeah. She's pretty neutral. Ha ha. Anybody interested in, and my question was, it seems more and more that our organization, our provincial organization has groups of people that want to do things that don't involve everybody, and so they head off on their own. And this is definitely an oil and gas initiative, which, I don't know, in my mind is, oil and gas is significant to all municipalities in Alberta, even if small, big, urban, rural. So what would you like to do with this, guys? Do you want more information? Do we just want to say we're not interested? Wayne?
Have a presentation at RMA, like you say, to get some more information on this, see exactly what they're pushing, where they're coming
Oh, that's
from.
a good question. They don't mention anything like that, do they? Oh, maybe we can wait till that's a couple of weeks and see if there is more information about it. Yeah, Clarence.
You know, I have a great deal of problem with this type of thing. We've had FCM in Edmonton, what was 3-4 years ago. That's the time that we had our chance to say, this is Alberta, this is how it looks, this is how we function. I think actually things like this can actually backfire. Here's Alberta doing another one of their promote Alberta things. And I think as an FCM organization, it's we move the convention around the country, and every province has a chance to, when they host, to showcase their province. I don't know. I'm not much in favor of this type of thing at a national thing where we try to, as much as possible, give everybody a chance to speak and to come forward, and everyone has a chance to host and bring forth what their province has done. To now do it in Ontario, and to me is, I'm not sure. I'm a little leery on supporting this type of initiative at FCM.
Yeah, any other comments? I don't see a lot of people being interested in this, and unless, you know, after convention we find something else about it. Kelly?
Well, I'm of the same mind that, and further to that, for a $10,000 ask, I think we need more details as to what that would be paying for. And so I would be in favor of more information at the very least. The last sentence in the letter says, I don't have it up in front of me right now, but
it says, a small shift in one person's perspective can lead to significant change. Under one unified action, we can achieve our goal.
And in my mind, that's through RMA. So, point made.
Yeah. Good enough discussion, folks? We haven't said no, we haven't said yes, if we learn more about it. And that is interesting, that they haven't, maybe they will use our convention for further details. Okay, upcoming community events. I missed post-agenda items, and I think we've clarified the long report item that we put on there. Clarence, correct? The long report will have the reports from our departments in it.
Well, that's what Ariana told us, that could be. And when I even made the motion, and I guess I wasn't paying attention, but I understood it, that was in it, but when I read the material again, it's absolutely right. It doesn't really say that. It just says the Reeves report would be in it. But I'd like our department heads to have their reports in it also. And if that could be accommodated with the motion that we had, or if we have to resend it, whatever. Or clarification. I'm not sure what we want to do. Or if people don't believe that we should have reports from
I think we did.
From those other areas. Well, I did too, but that when you read it again, it's not.
So when we talked about this last time, I also believed that we were going to do one report, no matter what it was called, but it would contain items from staff for MPC, ASB, and municipal services, and a brief hello from the reef. Is that hello? Is anybody different on their thinking on that? So,
Well,
Kelly.
there is solid waste management.
No, these are our inside.
Okay.
This is just inside. This is a
Inside the
County of
building.
Newell AGM annual report.
Okay.
So it doesn't take in all of those other committees. So now throwing it back to Ariana or Lane or somebody, is the motion needing massaging?
We'll just make sure that if that's what council is wanting, we'll make sure that we have those departments provide their input that summarizes the activity for the year.
And that's what we thought we were doing. Correct? I see all the heads bobbing, yes. Perfect. Clarence we were all on the same page. All right, so that's clear.
Lane, can you have a look at last meeting's agenda to make sure that what you're saying is correct? Because
Well, it's my understanding that what we're wanting to change in the annual report this year is that there isn't going to be a specific report from the chair of MPC. But for the most part, the rest of the detail that has been in it will be included in what we're doing going forward.
Okay, good. Clarification is always good. And so I think we're at in camera then. And if so, we need a motion to move in camera. Hubie moves us in camera at 2:12.